Monday, August 17th, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. I'm your host, Jason Cooper, alongside my producer for the next hour and a bit, Jalil Shakir, working his way behind the boards. And we have a great show for you today on this fine Monday morning, and we're going to break it all down here on the show. All right. We got Corbie batting lean off. We're going to talk some MLB best bets, plus we're going to talk a little bit about some college football. Corbie informed me that he's having internet issues. I don't know if it's because he's getting crushed on like MLB. I don't know if it's because he spent all his money on Dodgers futures, but apparently his internet is just awful today. So we'll have to deal with that and see how that goes. But he'll be on talking some MLB, talking some college football. We'll talk some week 0 games as well. He's got 2 bets for us coming in. Then obviously, as we always do on this Monday, we'll talk some home run hitters. And then after that, we got Doug Kezirian coming on today. We're going to be talking through some NFL preseason, recapping week 1, talking about what the heck's going on with this Steam. Pretty interesting stuff here. Like, I think Powers tweeted it out. If you chased a number that was that moved 3 points or more, whether it be on the total or the spread, you're like 0-10-1 at close. So something's not right. Something's not something's fishy there. Or it could just be a small sample. We'll also be talking through some NFL futures, some teams Doug likes, some teams he doesn't like, and things of that nature. He also has a couple, I believe he has a future parlay for us. Yes, he does. Futures parlay for us as well. So a lot of bets coming your way. So make sure you stay locked in here. Do us a favor before we get started the show, smash the like button. If you're new to the channel as well, hit that subscribe button. This MLB wildcard race is starting to get a little crazy. I feel like we blinked, and all of a sudden the Toronto Blue Jays are like a game out of the wild card or tied for the last spot in the wild card race. What the heck is going on? Is it just like that these wild card teams are just bad? Like there's 3 teams tied, Baltimore, Texas, Toronto for that last spot. None of them have a winning record. What's going on with baseball? We got 40 more games left. We still got a big stretch here. But what the heck is going on? Are my Blue Jays going to do well? I hope so. We got Corbie coming on to tell us all about that stuff in just a bit. Before we do that, though, quickly, want to give a shout out to our good friends over at FanDuel. What up, Connor? How's it going? Happy Monday. Hope you're having a great day. The Hammer Daily is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, the MLB season is in full swing, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Joining the action is easy. Just make your free pick on who's hitting a home run in their game. And if you're right, you'll get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. It's just another reason why FanDuel is the home for home runs. We'll talk about a few players who could hit a home run today with Corbie in just a sec. If you're ready to play your game, head over to FanDuel.com/forwardprogress to get started. That's FanDuel.com/forwardprogress to opt in for daily dingers and make your free pick on who's going to hit a home run. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. Must be 21 plus or present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as knowledge all profit boost token. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MyReset. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/Chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit gamblinghelpline.org or call 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 1-877-770-7867 in Louisiana. All right. I got a couple questions for you, chat. This past weekend, I went on a little bit of a golf trip with some friends. And the first game I played so awful that I retired my entire bag and played only 2 clubs. I played my 6-iron and my 9-iron, and then obviously my putter. Have you guys ever done that before? Have you ever just had a round of golf that went so bad, you just retired every single club in your bag and you only hit 2? And I actually played pretty well. I'm not going to tell you what I shot because I feel like I might look like I have a better handicap than I actually have. But I wonder if you guys have ever had to deal with that because it was a tough one for me. I also wonder if our next guest, is a golf guy. Listen, he lives in Florida. He better be playing golf. He's shaking his head. You can golf year round and you're not taking advantage of it. That's all right. All right. I see him shaking his head in the background. Makes me a little bit pissed off here. Anyways, let's begin the show. Let's get him on up here. He is a part of Better Odds. You see him here every Monday morning to just brighten up the work week, the start of your work week. Corbie, how's it going?
Boys, we're gonna see if we can get through this. You talk about golf weather, but the Wi-Fi weather is not very good, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Jason, I think that I have probably the most hated end of a circles off. I said golf is significantly overrated. The range is cool, but the course itself is. I don't get the joys. So no, I live on a golf course, but I do not play very much.
Live on a golf course. You just
Also,
like to
pause real quick.
pause.
Pause real quick. There's no one in the chat that thinks you look like you play golf well. It was assumed, it was implied that you're not very good. I would guess across the consensus here.
One person said you definitely look like you got a handicap, but I don't know if he was talking about like good handicap, bad handicap, or he's just talking about me in general. A lot of people in the chat saying that they don't really golf anymore. They retired because it's just poor play. E-Colt saying, "Oh no, not this guy again. Why are we bringing him on?"
I get that. I get that. And remember, last week when I came on, Jason, I said plus 105. Ohtani was ridiculous.
I agree.
Minus 40 now. So why have me on?
I know.
Me on? Minus 40 looks a little good now.
Listen, it's better than the stuff that E-Colt's given out. Parker Washington, 401 Offensive Player of the Year. Might as well just light money on fire. Might as well actually better off donating that money to charity instead. I wanted to talk a little bit about the MVP race, NL MVP race, but you took the words right out of my mouth here. Was it you who messaged me that Ohtani was going to pitch? Maybe it was someone else, but the second that I saw he was going to pitch, I knew that price was going to start steaming, and it did. Right now, minus 140. Pete Crow Armstrong having an awful August so far. Just getting cold at the right time for Ohtani here. 140 too short, just right.
It's close to just right. I still think there's some meat on the bone. Granted, again, remember, I have one baseball jersey in my office, and I have one baseball bat in my office, and they're Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani. So, of course, I'm going to say that I think it's still a little short. But no, I mean, if he 3 starts, that's all it's going to take. If he throws 100 innings pitched, like this is not a thing that I think you can make. I mean, Pete Crow's been awesome. This has never been a hate of Pete Crow, but I just think that like you're playing a sport where everybody plays the exact same except the one guy, Jason. It makes it pretty hard to win. Yeah.
Right now, like you said, Ohtani minus 140. I think that's still a click right now. We talked about like the strategy heading into this, maybe waiting a little bit until it gets announced, and of course, it gets announced like a couple days right after the show. Plus, the perfect storm with PCA playing awful means we missed the boat on that plus money. Unless you watch the show with you and bet it with you on Monday, then you did miss the boat. But yeah, minus 140 right now on FanDuel. Let's flip over and talk some. You want to go wild card or you want to go divisions first? You want to talk about my Blue Jays?
I'll leave that one to you. I mean, yeah, right. They're great, Jason. They, all I heard. So I'm cutting in and out because I have bad Wi-Fi. But yeah, when I heard you a second ago talking about, insert something was the worst bet, maybe donated to charity. I would argue. I don't even know what you were talking about there, but I would argue that I have a worse bet. It's sitting in my account right now, and that would be Blue Jays to win the World Series. I could have given that to a lot of people, and they would have been much happier than I currently am. I will say the Blue Jays to win the World Series is now back live. There was a point where we thought it was dead. It's live right now because they have a chance to make the playoffs. That's what we care about. Anyways, what's the price
for them to win the World Series? Definitely better than
I have 12 to 1.
Yeah, definitely better than that. It's they're 100 to 1 right now. So, but hey,
it's honestly not as bad as I thought it was. At one point, as you said, it was like I think it got to like 40 to 1 at one point.
Yeah, no, it was. It's not looking too good for our Blue Jays. But anyways, I want to talk to you quickly about the division leaders in the AL. We've seen like over the past couple of weeks, sort of a swing towards these division leaders, just sort of, just building up momentum. Like the Rays are starting to separate themselves from the pack. The White Sox starting to separate themselves from the pack. Astros starting to separate themselves. But then I look at the World Series odds and like to win the AL odds, and I feel like that discrepancy isn't there. Obviously, this is regular season versus the playoffs, but are these division winners getting like slightly mispriced in future markets?
Typically don't look at them. There's usually a ton of juice. Where is some price? Like, what is the White Sox, for example? I will say, like, since the last time we talked, the Tigers. Actually, I think it was even during the last time we talked, but the Tigers have decided that they want to start playing baseball, and they look pretty decent. So I'd be curious what the White Sox price is there. It's fun. The main thing for me, and just long story short, I don't touch a ton of these. There's a ton of juice. You can do the math pretty easy there. But it's hilarious to me to see if the White Sox are in this conversation. Like, if you told me last year, I'd be on Hammer Daily with Jason Cooper talking about the White Sox division leader being near, any kind of favorite odds. I'm like, you are a psychopath. But this team continues to do it. Like, they look good. They have some heart. They had a guy, I believe, try to hit Sal Stewart the other day twice in a row. I think it was Sean Burke. He definitely was trying too. So they even had some juice behind him, Jason. People hate the aggressive play there, but I kind of see it as like, hey, he's got some gumption. He wanted it. He went for it twice. I respect the effort. It's kind of like a fight in hockey. Sometimes you just got to get him out of the system there.
There we go. White Sox right now -260 to win the AL Central, but like just in terms of like looking at the full odds boards, they're like +700 to win the AL. They're right now tied for 4th and 5th to win the AL, with behind the Rays, the Red Sox, and the Yankees. Obviously, there's like a clear hierarchy in the AL between these divisions. That one division is much better than all of the rest, which is probably why the Blue Jays are struggling right now. But anyways, that's neither here nor there about how tough the division is there. Any other opinions you have on this AL? I guess I don't want to call it a division race because it feels like most of the divisions are pretty set. I guess the Astros, the West is pretty close.
Yeah, I would say if anything, I think the Astros are significantly better than they've played. I'm thinking a -30 run differential. 63 and 62 won't really make anybody seem very happy to bet this team. But like ultimately, I think their lineup is solid. And then I look at a Mariners team who just like very surprising there. Cal Raleigh has to be one of the biggest flops year over year I've ever seen. The last time I looked, he was at like 50 something hits. It's like it has been a complete fall apart of a year for him. So to see them third with 23 games back on run differential is interesting. It's a team that has all the pitching, has all the bat like names, and they just can't do anything. So no, I would say I'm higher on the Astros probably than the market is. I'm not looking at numbers right now, or you will no longer have me on the show because don't know if I can handle 2 upsets right now. But the Astros would be the team that I think is significantly better than what the market probably prices them for.
Yeah, Cal Raleigh right now, 52 hits this year. And I will say 60 home runs last year, 52 hits this year. It's going to be a rough last little stretch here. What would you price? What number would you need to bet under 59.5 hits this year? Like Cal Raleigh to have less hits than he had home runs in the previous year. What number would you need? There's like 40 games left, 36-ish games left. What number would you need? If I say I give you +200, are you clicking that? +400, are you clicking that? +500, are you clicking that?
I don't know. 40 games, you're getting like what? Call it 4.5 at bats a game. I mean, it would have to be way bigger than that number.
20 to 1.
I mean, I would be fully guessing to tell you yes or no, but I would assume it would have to be like way higher up. Ultimately, I'm trying to find what his expected batting average is. I've watched a few of these games. Candidly, I don't watch a ton of Mariners baseball. It's pretty fucking boring. But I think his swings just have not looked good. I'm curious. I'm trying to find his expected batting average this year. We're looking at a 175.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like there are guys that swing the bat, and you're like, all right. Ultimately, like a good example, like Vlad Guerrero. People worry about Vlad, and I was like, yeah. Ultimately, he is swinging. He's just getting very unlucky. Cal Raleigh will swing it like, I mean, they don't look good. So no, it would be tough, but it definitely wouldn't be 2 to 1, Jason. I was just squeezing me out of a future and a Cal Raleigh there.
I was just trying to come up with a number on the spot. You're probably better at pricing this stuff than I am. Just the first thing that came to my head. I don't know why I said 2 to 1. It's probably got to be 200 to 1 to make that fair. Just 40 games to hit like 6 hits. Like, is it that crazy? Like, I don't know. All right.
How many hits does he have?
He has 52, so we would need 8 hits to get the over 59.5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try. I was gonna try to napkin math for you, but I'm not gonna attempt.
All right. Kansas City plays at home this week, today especially. So that means we're going to talk some home run hitters. Give me give me a home run hitter today. It doesn't have to be 3. However many you want to do, just fire away.
Yeah, I bet one this morning, but again, I'm not gonna try to pull this up. It was Nick Kurtz.
Okay.
I got. Wait, was it Nick Kurtz? I would be lying to you if I told you who I know it was. It wasn't Nick Kurtz because it doesn't look like he's even playing. But no, I would be lying if I said I knew who it was. But I did bet a home run in this game.
Okay.
I do still agree with my thesis here that I think we're in a pretty good spot. Scott is watching this, so he might send me who we bet. But yeah, I did bet this, Jason. If you want your home run back and forth mashup, you choose somebody, and then I'll look at the exact same game, and I'll tell you who my number likes better than you.
All right,
so that I can one up you here.
All right, Nick Lofton for KC versus the A's. 10-1 right now on FanDuel. That's what
Nick Lofton.
Yeah.
10-1. Let's see. All right. Mumble for a second. I'll prepare.
Here, it's simple as just again. We like Kansas City at home. We like that as a home run environment. We still feel like the Bucks aren't pricing this well enough. And I'm looking at the board, and I just see a big star beside this 10-1 because it is a much better price on FanDuel than everywhere else. So good price, good park, simple click.
I bet Michael Massey, I think is how you say his name, in the same game.
Okay.
And that is not what I was talking about when I said I bet it earlier. No, I'm actually going to go to a completely different game, Jason. Sorry.
Okay, all good.
Lied to you. I'm going to go to Coors Field, kind of a similar spot. And there's a guy who has a 10-1 home run at Coors Field. Give me Tovar 10-1, and that is at FanDuel. Let's see what. Yeah, 10-1 best price FanDuel, circa 875 there.
There we go. I got another one in that same game for another one that's best price in market on FanDuel. You tell me if this is a good one. TJ Rumfield, 10-1 right now on FanDuel. Again, best price in market there. Is that also a go?
Yeah, I don't hate it. Also, like, an incredible name. Yours is definitely more fun to root for than mine. I don't hate it. It looks like, I mean, it's Blake Snow, yes, but like ultimately 10-1 in Coors in August, middle of August, is a tough to. I mean, you'd have to really suck. Yeah, I mean, I'm not close on either of those numbers.
All right, let's flip over and let's talk some. Any final thoughts when it comes to MLB? Or let's flip over and let's talk some college football here.
Now let's talk the fun stuff. I think AP poll dropped literally as we started the show. So
just dropped as we went live, and I'm gonna pull it up right here in just a second. Can you pull it up on your screen or no? Yeah, we'll get it up for you.
Yeah, I have it up.
Okay, quickly before anyone. Okay, perfect. Before we even get into this, I need people to know that this is the most important poll you'll ever see. This is going to be shifting the betting lines. It's going to be shifting the futures market. Everything you see here is going to be gospel moving forward, so make sure you adjust accordingly. No, of course, I'm being facetious. None of this stuff really matters, but it's a lot of fun to talk about. Okay? All right. Live reaction. Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, Georgia 3, Notre Dame 4, Texas 5, Indiana 6, Miami 7. This all feels pretty normal to me. Are you in the same boat here? No shock so far.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Notre Dame getting a little hate. Did you say Notre Dame 4?
Notre Dame 4, yeah.
I'm just going to have up my number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Notre Dame 2.
Okay.
And pretty close to Ohio State. So I don't mind Oregon in front of them. Oregon is unbelievably talented. I will say this is one of the years, like, more than the rest, that I don't have like a definite number one. In most years, it's like, all right, this is the number one team. If this AP poll would have came out, which I do not care what they say at all, but we're on a podcast, so here we are. If they would have said Ohio State, Oregon, Notre Dame, all of those would have been fine at 1. So don't mind that. Georgia at 3 was a little surprising. I have them 5, but I will say the gap between the Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, and then Georgia is significant. So I don't have Oregon at 3 there.
All right, I thought maybe
Georgia at 3.
Listen, maybe this is a little bit of bias here, but I thought maybe Indiana should be a little bit higher. Texas maybe like a little too high. Maybe those two could be flipped. That's the only thing I'm really seeing that could be anything interesting. Let's scroll down and look at the next batch. We have A&M, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, LSU, Texas Tech, Alabama, and BYU. Of these teams, is there one team that you could see fall out of this ranking or not be in this poll come the end of the season?
Yeah, pretty easy. BYU. barely. I have them like essentially 20th. So I guess 14 isn't that bad. Where you at, Jason? What are you laughing at? Am I lagging that bad?
No, you're good.
I would say BYU. The surprise to me, I guess, would be 12 Texas Tech. Like, I don't know. I have them 7, and I think they're probably better than 7th. That's probably being like a little dramatic to all the preseason news. It just like I don't know. This is one of those spots where I think Texas Tech had like preseason banter that like might have hurt them from like an AP poll standpoint. But this team is awesome. I mean, they're projected what I believe 10.5 is their over under. Like it's gonna be tough for them to lose a game. So from an AP standpoint, what does the AP poll care about? Like wins. You know, they always beef up the teams without a resume who have wins. So I kind of expected Tech to be in like the top 5 spot here.
Yeah. Let's get to the next little bunch here, which I feel like they're too long, but whatever. USC 14. I don't know how that one works out. Michigan at 16. USC is tied at 14 with BYU, so they're 15th. Michigan, Washington, Penn State, SMU, Tennessee, Utah. Any shockers here? It feels like we're too low on USC. I'm not even joking.
On USC,
yeah.
Would you say they are 14?
15.
I have 15. I have them 14. So
okay.
I would say like right at, but I get the idea. I will say USC's upside is like pretty solid. I mean, I would have them better than BYU. And then go to, did you say 31 Utah?
No, 21.
Or am I making that up?
21.
21. Okay, I have them 21.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. It's a top 25, Jason. How would I get to 31?
There you go.
You bring up a great point.
The last 4 we have here is Iowa, Houston, Louisville, Missouri. My biggest takeaway when just looking at this list as a whole is just no respect. It feels like for the like just again too much SEC bias, no respect for the Big Ten, which I feel like the Big Ten is better than the SEC here. Am I wrong to say that? Like,
no, I would say yes. It candidly kind of feels like the SEC got a little bit too much love in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I see Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Ole Miss. Like they're all really good, but like, am I saying that they're just powerhouses? Probably not. And I'm from Alabama, Jason. As you can assume, I am as biased as it comes here. So I thought it was a little aggressive. The big takeaway, and this isn't really AP. I'm just like high and low because I'm not much help here in this show, but a few things I took away from like the preseason in general, and it kind of helps with this is I think Alabama. Just said I'm biased. I in almost every case don't like this Alabama football team. This year, like I think they're going to be really good. I've seen people prospecting their offense like outside of the top 30. I think that's crazy. Like this is the 3rd year under a coach who has ran good schemes. Okay, I think Alabama will be plenty fine. I believe their win total 8.5. I think that's the lowest I have seen an Alabama win total in quite some time. And then the other one for me was, I mean, are we just going to assume that Penn State is like unbelievable now? I mean, they got a good class. They have all the good stuff, but I mean, this team sucked last year. Like this is a dramatic change in events. What did the AP have? Like 19, I think you said.
18.
18. 18.
Yeah.
So like that, it just feels like for all things to go right, Penn State is a top 15 team. Their median, I just don't know if I could get there. So I do have Penn State rated pretty high, but just even visually seeing it, I'm like, man, that just seems tough.
Yeah. The thing with Penn State too is I'm just looking at FanDuel odds for them to make the college football playoffs right now plus 280. It's just probably not something you'd see from an 18th ranked team like they should just be on the cusp. They shouldn't be plus 280 to make the playoffs here, minus 380 to miss the playoffs. So okay, takeaways from the poll. We know how important it is. We know how much it means to everyone. We know it's going to be shaping the futures markets. Again, that's a joke. But any big takeaways finally before we move off this?
No, I would say surprised that the SEC got so much love. I guess it's because it's the AP poll. It makes sense. Again, if you're using this to make your numbers, you're an idiot and don't. I think Oklahoma's really good. I'm just kind of like skimming through the AP poll and seeing like slightly where I disagree. Oklahoma, I think, will be right back to where they were. And then just like a quick scroll down, like Not really anything, Jason.
Okay.
I guess I was surprised you could say that they didn't try to squeeze in like a P5 team to, have a little bit of fun. Yeah, it feels like media tries to do this a lot. Like if we saw, squeeze in a Boise State or something here, would have not been shocked.
Group of 6 now, not 5. I have to adjust this because the
Group of
Pac-12
six,
is
yeah,
now
sorry,
a legit
sorry.
conference. No, you're good. You're good. I've been adjusting this offseason. They are a real conference right now, which is you forget this stuff in the offseason, then it starts to pick up again. All right, let's head over to week 0. You said you got 2 bets for me. Are those both in week 0, or is there one in week 1, one in week 0?
No, it's week 1 and week 0. So let's just do
Okay.
one bet, and let's make it the week 0 one. That would
All
make
right.
a lot of sense. Let me try to load in FanDuel real quick. This should be fun.
I got it for you.
Also, side note while we're doing this, it's about Jason. It's about to be 2027. What are we doing with this Wi-Fi situation?
You tell me. Did you just spend all your money on Dodgers futures and you just forgot to pay the bill this week? Like, what's going on?
It's possible. It's possible that I'm irritated, but I'll give somebody a phone call after this. All right, week 0 would be August 29th. I bet this UNLV Memphis under 57.5. As you know me, I bet basically only totals. Memphis lost a lot, and I think that we just assumed that UNLV is going to be at full capacity. Like we saw them. It was a great story last year. They have a good coach. They got a bunch of superstar names in, but like from every single aspect of camp, it's like seems like Alex Orji is going to be the guy, and like. I'm not the biggest Jackson Arnold. Like I just think there's a lot of issues with this team overall. And then a second poke, just like if you wanted an opinion on a second game here, Hawaii Stanford over the 49.5. I would love a flat 49. Obviously a very important number. Hawaii had a receiver that got announced injured. It's shaped the market a little bit. I think it's really important, but from everything I've heard, it's not really that serious, and he's going to be completely fine heading into week 0. So that would. I mean, if this went from 52 to 49 on a key player and then the player plays, I think you're getting a pretty good number there.
All right. Hawaii, Stanford over 49.5 minus 105 at FanDuel. We need that flat 49, but that 105 at FanDuel is okay. Any opinion on the Dublin, Ireland game? UNC versus TCU. We got Bill Belichick flying out to Dublin. I wonder what he and Jordan are going to be up to out there. But yeah, any opinion on this one?
Yeah, I bet TCU at a number that's no longer available.
Okay.
So how does that help anybody? I don't know. Would lean towards an under.
Okay.
Lean towards an under, but like this one's been steaming down. Again, it's steaming down into numbers that don't really matter a ton. And now we're seeing 47.5. Get some juice up. So maybe I'm wrong here. I didn't bet this. Jason, sometimes I forget you're Canadian. You kind of have like a normal accent, but give me the give me where this game's being played at one more time.
Dublin, Ireland. That's my Irish
Conor
accent.
McGregor special there.
There we go. You like that?
Conor McGregor special. It was solid. The first time I thought you did it on accident. And the second time it was less good. But
no.
I lean towards an under. Lean towards TCU. Think it's going to be a really boring game. TCU's playing a quarterback from Harvard, who I believe set every Harvard record. So at minimum, he's going to be a high-witted IQ kind of guy, Jason.
All right. There we go. Harvard quarterback should be smart. Last one I can think of is Ryan Fitzpatrick, maybe. Anyways, all right. Let's move on here.
That's a pull.
That's a pull.
Ball.
Thank you. Honestly, like give me if I spin a wheel and pick a random team, can you just pull like the most random player you can think of? Let's do NBA.
No.
Give me an NBA deep cut. Right? Miami. What do you MLB college football? You want college football deep cut? College basketball?
I can't do it with anybody. I barely remember your name. Only because I do shows on Monday. Let's try it though. Let's go ahead.
What sport do you want? College football? Do you want college basketball? What if you could just if you had to pick someone?
You tell me
your most knowledgeable sport in terms of just depth of memory for guys naming dudes. Like just give me a sport.
Colts tight end 2005 Dallas Clark.
All right, I'm gonna rate that poll. I'll give you like a 6 out of 10 for that one. That's not too bad. I'm curious if anyone can pull a better,
we'll take that. We'll take
better Colts player than maybe E Colt in the chat because he loves the Colts. But anyways, Dallas Clark, decent.
All right. E Colt. We'll give you the same team defensive tackle. That would be the Dwight Freeney was on the end. We're going to go Robert Mathis on the other side of the
I like that.
line. There you go.
That's another pull.
As
Robert.
you know, as you can tell, Jason, I only know Colts players from like a 3-year span. I think that team was cool. So if you ask me any other team, I got nothing.
All right. Before you head out, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. All right. College football futures. There are some regular season passing yard totals available right now on FanDuel. Gunnar Stockton, CJ Carr, Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Julian Sayin, Darian Mensah. And I assume next time you come on, there's probably going to be a few more of these player level futures. So I'm going to ask you to prepare some for next week. You going to be good with that?
Yeah. What is Darian Mensah's number?
Ooh,
I'll go ahead and spam one off. That number's going to be low. I think Mensah goes crazy this year.
3,100. 3,125 and a half.
Yeah, it's
passing. It's too low?
Give me 10 seconds. I can tell you what to make that number.
All right.
Because I think that I bet Mensah Heisman already.
Yes,
we talked about that.
We talked about it.
Darian Mensah. I have it 3,500 yards, so I would be way over that number, which makes sense because I have just way over on this kid overall. So, yeah, we'll go over. But yeah, give me the list next week. I'll be ready.
All right, Darian Mensah over 31.25 and a half passing yards. Corbie, appreciate you joining the show. You can go follow Corbie on Twitter at CorbieBO. Corbie, any final thoughts before you head out?
No, I have a scary meeting after the show with Jason. I'm terrified about it. So that we talk. It scares me.
You're okay.
I like talking when there's other people looking behind the scenes. I'm scared. Jason has a mustache, and I'm terrified of that. So no, that's it.
All right, appreciate you joining the show, Corbie. We'll talk soon. See ya. Oh man, great stuff from Corbie. No, nothing bad's gonna happen there. Just I just need to talk to him about something. I don't know why he's putting me on blast here. That is crazy. What a way to start our Mondays than to have him on the show. All right. We'll get into our next guest in just a second here. But before we do that, just a quick reminder. We have a little bit of a treat for you guys today. Over on the Forward Progress YouTube channel, we're bringing back the Hammer Draft Series today, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. They're releasing their next video. G-Stack, Austin, and TA drafted Offensive Player of the Year. Today, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. Go check it out. And honestly, I saw the board, guys. I saw that board. There were some names left off the board that if I was in that draft, I would have drafted for sure. They left some big names off the board. It's 3 teams, 8 rounds. They left some big names off the board. Like 24 players, they left some names off the board. That's all I'll say. You got to check it out. It's going to be a good watch. 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. Make sure you go check that out. Maybe G-Stack in the chat can mention a little bit. If he has any other stuff that he wants to share with regards to that. Anyways, let's get into the rest of the show here. We got our next guest coming on. You can check him out on the Betting Weekly Studios on YouTube, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also see his work over at The Athletic and the New York Post. You can go follow him on Twitter at Doug Kezirian. Doug, welcome to the show. Excited to have you on here.
Good to be with you, man. It was enjoying your chat with Corbie, and now good to be with you. It's crazy how fast the summer flew by, right?
It's absolutely insane, and you blink, and we're already on preseason week 2. Things are heating up in the NFL world. We're seeing injuries fly left, right, center. Just before we went live on air earlier this morning, Breece Hall gets hurt, groin injury. We don't know how serious it is. Everything is going on, and I couldn't be happier that we're finally in the thick of football. I want to start preseason week 1 with you though, because there's a couple takeaways that I'm curious to hear, like what you really took away from the stuff that happened on the field and the decisions that were made when it comes to who's starting and who's playing. But before we get into that, I just want to talk about a macro level, because what we've seen with some of these crazy moves in these preseason spreads and totals is the people who are steaming the numbers are getting kind of smoked. If you bet, this is from Brad Powers here. If you bet a number that steamed 3 points or more at close, you're 10-1 against 10-1 against the spread on sides and totals. Obviously a small sample. Anything to make of here that with what's going on with these moves kind of getting losing, getting smoked? Is it like a motivation factor that the starters don't really matter as much anymore? The backups playing well. What do you see here? Or is this just like small sample noise?
Yeah, to your point, small sample size, and favorites are 3 and 14 ATS if you include the Hall of Fame game and then week 1, right? 17 games. I think my overarching read is that things are just there's more variables. I think more than anything, it's the play calling and the some of the job duties. Um, you saw Ben Johnson talk about Antoine Randall L. He
Mhm.
let him call plays for the second half, and it's sort of a grooming situation. We see this in the NBA preseason where assistant coaches get to be head coaches, also in the summer league. And I know the Rams have a super young OC now, the guy former, I think, quarterback from Illinois, Nate Shieldhouse.
Mhm.
But either way, some of these play calling, I think, is very different. These OCs or acting OCs
Mhm.
are getting a chance to sort of flex their muscles, and I think they're approaching things differently than what we've seen in the past with offensive coordinators and play calling in the preseason, which has been very vanilla, right?
Mm.
I saw it in the Hall of Fame game. You had the vanilla defense because that's the unwritten rule, no blitzing, everything. And then instead of running actual NFL plays, they're just running college plays to get completions and move the sticks. So everything underneath, everything in the flat. Well, it's like that's not really something you can get away with constantly in the
Mhm.
NFL during the regular season. And I just think it's a different animal because of these other variables. And I would say, again, small sample size, but that's sort of one thing that stood out to me, but I didn't dive deep into the preseason this year. It's only 3 weeks,
Mhm.
and you don't really get out what you put in. If you go all in, you're only it's kinda like the World Cup.
Mhm.
The shelf life isn't that long, and so it's either a can of worms you wanna open, and if you don't, I don't blame you because the market's actually, much more involved now. It's much tighter.
Mhm.
More people are you have to be really on the spot as opposed to, like, 10 years ago when those markets were fairly soft and the numbers were out there. It wasn't just a you split second to grab a great number before it moved 7 or 8 points.
Yeah. So you're not really you're not bet are you betting preseason that much this year? Or not really.
So
Just kind
Not really. So, like,
Mm.
obviously, I've listened to what, colleagues say,
Of
things like
course.
that, but it's like I was very I held my powder this year, and
Mhm.
thank God, because a lot of people were on the Browns money
Yeah.
line last week and think it was like, "Are you sure the Browns, like, even if they have these 2 starting quarterbacks trying to play in the second half, they still suck."
Yeah, are
So
we sure they're starters?
right,
Like
you got a new coach who's clueless, we don't
Mhm.
so, yes, there's some trends, and the
Mhm.
trends have legs. I think there's something to be said about betting the preseason. I've always believed in it,
Mhm.
but you have to put in the work.
Yes.
And again, if you only have 3 weeks, and I like to use week 1 as a baseline, so really for me, it's like week 2 and 3.
Mhm.
Is it worth it when you're getting the season prep? I'm betting baseball every day. I'm huge in the WNBA.
Mm.
So it's really sort of pick your poison. So I actually did get involved in some live wagering, and things got crazy. And that's where I started to notice the play calling and being very different than in years past. It wasn't just 3 yards in a cloud of dust in the second half or an inept back fourth string quarterback.
Mhm.
These guys were really sort of, I don't know, padding the stats for lack of a better word.
Mhm.
Just letting these guys do check down Charlie, even though that's not going to fly in the NFL. So the whole point of this is you're supposed to simulate offensive situations for these backup quarterbacks to see if they can actually translate to the NFL. But we didn't get that. So I was annoyed as a bettor betting unders in some
Mm.
situations. Now, my live under got there in the Chiefs Rams game, but man, certain things can derail anything. But I mean that's football. That's betting
Mm.
in general.
Yeah.
One like Nussmeyer taking a 20-yard sack, hurting his ankle, that changed the entire game. So it's like, all right, great. But
Yeah.
that happens in every game.
All right. Let's talk. Let's set aside the live betting stuff and just the odds in terms of these preseason games. Just anything you've taken away from the preseason from a football standpoint. Anything you've liked. Anything you didn't like. You mentioned the play calling. Is this like a signal towards, hey, like these teams might I might not be expecting these teams to have that great of offense, but their play calling looks incredible in preseason. This OC, this passing games corner is calling plays for them, and things look great. Is there anything that's like stuck out to you from week 1 of preseason so far?
Yeah, I would say, I know a lot of the totals. I would just say I would shade towards the overs and some of
Mm.
the totals. Now, I know a lot of games were very low. I mean, the Cardinals Raiders game was one of the worst beats I've ever seen in terms of the 41.5, if that was the number you had on the over. I think we see points in a lot of ways because of the play calling. I
Mhm.
really do. I think these OCs they don't want to go 3 and out, right? They're like these new play callers for half. They want to get a full drive together. So it's going to be a lot of easy completions. That was sort of my takeaway on some of the games. Now, I didn't watch every
Of
replay of
course.
every game and everything, but that was my reaction. I have something like that filed in the back of my head for
Mhm.
game, week 2 of the preseason. Some of these coaches really don't care, but
Mhm.
that's not stopping if they hand the duties to another OC and things like that. Then it's like, all right, you got to factor that in. So I would just tread lightly. That would be my biggest takeaway in all of this for sure.
All right, biggest preseason here is just thing in the preseason. Just tread lightly if you're betting on stuff, especially if you're not betting without any information here. And be careful live as well, because there might be some coaches who are fighting for a job or fighting to prove that they should be calling plays, and they're going to use this to build the resume. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about some futures bets here, because I was talking to Alex earlier. You mentioned that you had some futures bets, and I want to talk about some teams you're lower on. I know you're low on Atlanta, which is something that you and I agree on. Is there anything else, any other team you're low on, or is just mostly Atlanta? And make the case for why you're low on Atlanta as well.
So I just don't get this number. I really don't. I thought the number would be like 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
So their win total 7.5. Unders like $1.30. So it's not even like one of these ridiculous $1.80s. I would even consider alt unders. I like the market for Atlanta to have the fewest wins this season.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the top teams in that market, so projected worst teams. By the way, rarely does the team going into the NFL season that has expected to have the fewest wins actually have the fewest wins.
Mm-hmm.
And the teams that have it, Jets and Dolphins, are in the same division. So maybe they can get wins in that regard. But also, like the Cardinals, I mean, I don't know, maybe it was just the Raiders' defense, but the offense didn't look all that bad if you think about it. Now, their division is brutal, but they only play 6 games in the division. And Jacoby Brissett has demonstrated he's way more competent than maybe, his floor is pretty high. His ceiling, not that high, but his floor is high. We're all assuming that it's going to be a rebuild and we might get tanking. And I don't know, like the last 8 games of the season doesn't look all that bad, especially if they give Carson Beck a chance. And who knows, right? Like the LaFleur is the new coach. I'm just saying it's 16-1 for the Falcons because for me, the things that stand out with Atlanta is their quarterback. Tua's not good to begin with. He's 1 hit away from retiring. Penix is not healthy and he's not that great. He's still pretty green, all things considered. And yes, they have a couple weapons that are daunting with Bijan, receivers, Pitts, and everything. But I don't know, like Tua is going to go 3 and out so many times that it's not going to matter who their weapons are. And I love London. I love these guys, but I think Stefanski's way overrated. That Cleveland offense looked like garbage. Compare that to Miami's offense. Everyone's like, oh, look at all those weapons. Mike McDaniel's just an infinitely times better play caller and play designer than Stefanski. He made lemonades out of lemons. And I didn't see that with Stefanski. I thought he had horrible clock management in some games, especially the one with Dylan Gabriel, and Carson Wentz in that London game. He totally botched certain things. Yes, he might be a step up with Raheem Morris's staff, but that doesn't mean he's good. Just a step up from a guy who needed to get fired. So I think they got a lot of issues, but the number one thing is their schedule. I mean, they could easily be 2-10 after 12 games. The schedule and who they have to play outside the division is a gauntlet. And then they play the AFC North and the NFC North. And sometimes when you get those out of conference, you only get one meeting, right? Sometimes you really want the bad team at home just to lock in a win. Like they're playing the AFC North. They have to go to Cleveland in December. Is Cleveland going to lose every game? Like this Atlanta team was terrible. Remember they got smoked, I think, shut out at Carolina last year. This team is not good away from home. They're shaky to begin with. And going to Cleveland, like I would rather have Cleveland at home and then have to go to Baltimore, right? Like something like that. Now, they actually host Baltimore in that division. They also host Cincinnati, but I mean, there's just this rip of opponents. After Carolina in week 2, they go at Green Bay, at New Orleans, home to Baltimore, Chicago, Niners, at Tampa, home to Cincinnati, home to Kansas City, and then into the bye week. Like, and then they still got Detroit on the schedule. Like, it's a brutal stretch. Why are you? Obviously, I'm sure we overlap on some rationale, but why else are you down on Atlanta?
Well, me, it's also just like there's a lot of overlap there, but like the edge rusher situation as well is just like it feels like that final nail in the coffin where it's like, how does this team win games? It's like if their offense isn't going to be prolific enough and high powering to like outscore their opponents, their defense definitely isn't going to be able to stop the pass. So if there's any situation where they're leading, it's going to be hard for them to get to the quarterbacks with just how thin they are on the front seven. So it just feels like the love is too high. I think where we differ is I actually like Stefanski as a coach. I think I do think people are overrating him, but I don't think he's I think maybe now it's gone too far where people are saying like, really, are we really talking about Stefanski being this good? But again, the quarterback situation is just horrible. Like there's a real world where both Penix and Tua are hurt come that tough stretch later on in the season for them. So quarterback uncertainty, defensive line uncertainty, paired with like a not great offensive line, questionable play calling. There's just all these reasons, and 7.5 wins is just way too high. I agree with you. Way too high.
Yeah. I mean, they're the fourth shot in the division, right? Based on the odds. Now, obviously, their odds in the division as the long shot, quote unquote, are not
tighter,
that long, right? It's the shortest odds of the fourth favorite of any NFL division, right? So it's the most competitive when you factor in the fourth favorite. NFC North right there as well with the Vikings as the fourth. Like the Cardinals are like 200 to 1 to win the division. So the fourth favorite, but still, how is your fourth favorite 7.5 when your best teams are expected to, last year they all went 8 and 9. So it's going to be a complete log jam. I do think like the other teams in the division are going to be a little better, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's on New Orleans this year, given how they finished once they made the quarterback change. I think Tampa will be good. I think they're the rightful favorite. They'll be fine. If they don't win the division, I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think Bryce Young's good. I've been saying it since they drafted him. He was a midget, but I also think I like Canales. I didn't think Ted was great as in terms of a draft pick, but he ended up being great. And I think just the play calling and structure of plays to get Bryce Young out of the pocket and everything have been a step in the right direction at least. So I think all those teams could certainly take a step forward this year. So yes, probably won't produce the Super Bowl champion that division, but I do think there's no like layups in the division for Atlanta. And I think they're the rightful long shot. And I just don't get how anyone's given them the benefit of the doubt. I guess going back to Miami when Tua was like the MVP favorite or something through like a month of the season, which was laughable at the time, but it's even more laughable thinking about it. I honestly think that was more McDaniel. I think this team is going to be really, really limited. I just think it's a long season. These are long games, so they might have impressive drives. Bijan might rip one off for 50, and then Drake London makes like a one-handed catch, and it's like, okay. But like when the chips are on the table, especially on the road, things like Tua's just not going to deliver.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to deliver. And like you said, like the injuries concern is just real for Tua. He's just not good. I don't think either quarterback is good, to be perfectly honest. Any teams you want to mention that you're high on? Do you have a bet for anyone that you're high on?
I mean, I understand. I mean, look, I'm not first to market here. I understand the hype on the Saints in terms of outperforming expectations and being a bet on team. I really liked Kellen Moore, some of that. Obviously, the quarterback change looked, but I will say it's usually not that easy. I think teams now look, teams are allowed to get better. So a full offseason as the starter for Shook, certainly. Kellen Moore probably going to be better in year 2, right? Just going to understand his team and the dynamics and of an offseason. I just think they're not going to like sneak up on teams like they did maybe a couple times last year when they were so bad out of the gates. And they're going to have a lot more high leverage game situations if they're really pursuing the division crown, right? Like they at the end of the season they had some of those and they didn't go great. So but their win total is reasonable enough for sure. Are they going to be this year's Patriots? We'll see, maybe. But I certainly I'm not betting under. Let me put it that way. Like I'm not betting under or anything like that. I just would be a little careful. But I'm certainly high on them in that regard. A team that I'm not betting their win total, but I think the Jets are going to cover a lot more than people realize. I don't like. I'm a Raider fan. When they signed Geno, I was like, this is terrible. Okay, I'm not a Geno fan. But he's still an upgrade from what they had last year at quarterback, given they couldn't complete the forward pass and Fields was horrendous. And I do think with that offensive line, Geno, maybe he would have led the NFL in interceptions regardless. But that O-line was such a disaster with Pete Carroll's son. And like, I don't think any quarterback could have survived with that situation. And it was a giant mess from the reporters I know from behind the scenes out here in Vegas. Like it was a dysfunctional from top to bottom and they had to clean house and they did. So I think just Geno being a veteran, like I'm a big believer in quarterbacks getting better in their career. I was always a believer in Darnold getting a second chance. Look at Bryce Young. He's gotten better a little bit. Some of these other QBs, like the Jake Brownings of the world and stuff, could have a resurgence because so much of the game, especially as they protect quarterbacks, is mental.
Mm.
So as these guys learn how to read defenses, the complexities of everything, I think they could be better. And that's why I laugh at all these quarterbacks that hold these franchises hostage and get these big deals like Tua and all these guys who got huge deals. It's just outrageous. I mean, the Guardians were the only team to not succumb to that pressure with Cousins, and they just had to go in a different direction, hit the reset button. You're never gonna win when you pay these mediocre quarterbacks these ransoms. Just look who's been in the Super Bowl. It's either a rookie quarterback deal or it's a superstar. That's all it is. So like Purdy, like very few times have we gotten like Jimmy G. I think had a big deal, and they were right there that when they lost to the Chiefs and they were up double digits in the fourth, but it's never worked out. Like never. So you either have to have the rookie deal QB or a bargain. Like I think Darnold, was sort of a bargain.
Yep.
Or it's a superstar like Mahomes or something like that. And one of those. So these franchises are all morons for paying these. So I think these veteran quarterbacks sort of resurgent, get these reasonable deals.
Yep.
Are going to be better. And I think, Geno might have one of his best seasons. So I'm going to look at a lot of backdoor covers with the Jets. Because I think that now the problem is that the coach is going to get fired at some point. So maybe it's after Frank Reich becomes, coach in waiting to interim coach. Maybe that happens in early October. That's a team that's caught my eyes, but really every year, right? There's always carnage in September.
Yes.
And then Survivor. We see teams when we're like sitting here in November and we were like, man, can you believe they were 4-point favorites on the road in September? Now, if they replayed that matchup, they'd be 2-point dog. So we just have to know that September is very fluid and very soft. So we just have to really, really. Now, I think the market's gotten better because there's so much information, so much scrutiny, so many syndicates and everything betting into these numbers. But I just you get hit over the head enough, you have the scar tissue. You start to say, all right, let's not make some mistakes. So I ease into these things very cautiously.
All right. You were mentioning something there for just a second, talking about the quarterbacks sort of holding teams hostage. And I want to play a quick game with you before I have you out here. I just sort of looked at some players who are currently on their rookie deals, some quarterbacks who are currently on their rookie deals. And I want you to tell me your opinions on them and what you think their next contract is going to be, whether it's going to be signed long-term with the team that drafted them, whether it's going to be they're going to be franchise tagged and then probably the team's going to let them walk, whether they're going to sign as a starter for another team or just become a backup in the league. Okay. The first one is pretty easy. Jaden Daniels, your opinion on him. Where does he land in this conversation?
Well, he's obviously is on stable ground there, but my concern, and I hope I'm wrong, was that his frame is too fragile for the NFL and that injury concerns I was really worried about coming out. Obviously, he's a dynamic quarterback when he's playing well.
Yes.
But I think people are forgetting how much of that was Kingsbury calling plays. He looked the part, obviously an outstanding rookie year, went playoffs, won a game, all that. But durability is a concern, and that was with his frame coming in. And then also, like, how much of that was just the play calling and everything like that. So I do worry a little bit, but absolutely they're going to lock him up. And the concern with all these QBs is we can't discuss this in a vacuum. The problem with a lot of this is the front office, namely the GM, has a different shelf life and job security than what's best for the franchise. So a lot of times these guys are making moves what's best for them instead of what's best for the franchise. And that's why some of these, guys, teams make the wrong moves because they're trying to earn themselves more years or another deal with the owners. And whereas really the no-brainer, given it's a salary cap league, is really probably to hit the reset button. I'm not saying that's the case with Jaden Daniels, but it's certainly the case with other QBs.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to the other QBs in just a sec. Also, it's like a big kind of like glaring issue that Cliff Kingsbury is an OC, potentially going to become a head coach and decides to leave his position to go be the assistant head coach in the Rams, obviously better organization. Is that like maybe him saying, I don't want to be tied to Jaden Daniels. I don't want my future head coaching opportunity to be tied to Jaden Daniels. That might be the case there. Next guy I want to ask you about is Tyler Shuck. Where do you think he lands after his rookie deal?
Well, I think he's the guy.
Okay.
I think he's going to be the guy in New Orleans. Now, obviously a year ago, everyone was planning for Arch to take over like his grandfather in New Orleans and everything. That obviously has not been the case. My issue is not that some of these quarterbacks get retained. I think it's the price tag.
Yes.
I think it's outrageous. So there
Of
almost
course.
needs to be collusion amongst all these owners to not offer certain price tags. Collusion would save the league because they really are overpaying for unproven guys like Jordan Love. Like I never
Yeah.
would have given him that money, but it's easy for me to say that. So what are you gonna do? Just let him walk and
Yeah.
then have to hit the reset button with another guy you draft? You don't know if he's gonna be good. So
Yeah.
they're kind of held hostage because to succeed, so many other stars need to be aligned, right?
Yeah.
Everything needs to be aligned perfectly for you in that window, that championship window. I think the Eagles, when they won it recently, that was perfect. Like there was the ascension of Jalen Hurts and then all these other
Yes.
positions. And last year it worked perfectly with Seattle.
Yep.
But they also didn't have a high priced quarterback. And now he was like, so Darnold's making like 10 in Minnesota. I think he doubled it ish, like 17, 18, I think, if I remember correctly, last year for Seattle. But they were able to pay some other guys. But it was perfect sort of stars aligning with their defense and the natural progression. The key is all of this is if you pay a guy X amount for the, is your window those few years. If it's not, doesn't mean you're not getting better, but then you have to reconsider unless you really believe in him as a long term. And he could very well be a long-term guy. So I think they're going to end up paying him. I think the question is also the dollar figure, like the exact dollar figure, because there's a difference between 17, 25, and 35.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's very fair. Okay, let's reframe this question then. Just give me your projection for their future in the league off of their rookie contract, right? So I'm gonna rattle off a couple names and just give me like one word thought or like maybe a quick sentence on each guy. You mentioned you don't like Bryce Young. What about CJ Stroud?
Ooh, it's not trending in the right direction. I'll tell you that.
I like that.
I worry about some of the coaching there with such a defensive mindset. Have they really sort of stretched him a little bit? Was he like the onus put on it, whereas he had kid gloves in his development? My concern is that he wasn't that great in college. Yes, he was fantastic in that game against Georgia and the drive, and they actually settled for the field goal, and that's why they lost. Like he could have got another first down. It was like one game. Now it was a legit game against a legit team. I'm not sold on him, but it's easy for me to say that. I don't want to react too hard to one game in the playoffs. I mean, I was on the Patriots money line. That was like my only wager that weekend. Weather was a factor. Players are allowed to get better. I don't want to write them off completely. I don't love all the situation there in Houston. I wouldn't be hitching my wagon to him. Let's put it that way.
All right. Last one here. You mentioned a guy who wasn't that good in college, or you mentioned CJ Stroud not being that great in college. Another guy who wasn't that good in college, at least I think, Cam Ward. What are your thoughts on him?
Really? Because I think he should have won the Heisman.
Okay. All right. Fair.
Well, I mean, they were losing games like 42-40. It's such a ridiculous thing. Like the defense gives up something, and then all of a sudden he's not like good because they couldn't go to the playoff. I think the upside's there. I think he's got the big arm. I think he's mobile enough, not a dual threat necessarily like, I don't know, Kyler Murray, which is good. I think with the right coach, I mean, they had a terrible dysfunctional situation last year, completely terrible. Guy had no business being a head coach, just complete disaster. So I don't know if Saleh is the answer, but I think they have some adults in the room. I think we're going to get a fair evaluation of him. I saw a lot of sloppiness when I did watch the Titans, but I think that was just everything breaking down, the dysfunctional organization. So I would say the verdict's still out for me on him, but I think the upside's there, and I have not lost hope at all.
I think they have the right guy in the room in Brian Daboll, first who they had last year.
Well said.
In Callahan, like the guy's just was a moron. Anyways, Doug, I appreciate you joining the show. We got to get out of here. Any final thoughts, though, before you head out? Could be anything on the season. Just what's at the front of your mind heading into the NFL season?
Oof, gosh. I will say I'm exhausted with the NFL. Like just the parody, these refs, the vanilla-ness of some of these games, and just the monotony. Yes, it's the witching hour and the fun. It just gets to the point where you want to like throw your remote sometimes. Now we do this because we get breadcrumbed, because every like 5 games we watch is like awesome. But just the other 4 games, let's call it, it's just like, what am I doing here? College football is way better because you have NFL on deck, but Saturdays I think are more fun. The variants, I like these 45-point spreads. It's funny. And then you get this, like, it's our World Cup, right? You get this pageantry, you get these diehard fan bases. once a week. It's like our World Cup really every weekend.
Yeah.
And it's just hilarious sport and it's a lot of fun. The NFL is hilarious in other ways, but it is exhausting to deal with, and betting it can be just aggravating like no other. But there are certain spots. So I'm obviously immersed in it, but man, I think the NFL is wearing thin with the travel, these Thursday games, just everything. It's
Wednesday now too.
They're basically, it's like a game of chicken. Roger Goodell's daring us to lose interest. I mean, that's really what it is.
All right. Fair enough, Doug. Appreciate you joining the show. You can go follow Doug on Twitter at Doug Kezirian. Link is in the chat down below. Doug, thanks for joining us. We'll chat soon.
You got it, man. Thanks, and good luck to everyone this season.
Appreciate it. Great stuff there from Doug. As always, appreciate that conversation, especially surrounding the Falcons and the Saints. Really push back on my preconceived notions on the Saints. I'm not too high on the Saints this year. I'm not too high on Tyler Shuck, but I think I'm just weighted on my bias against him from last year, which is crazy to say. But I just don't know if Tyler Shuck is. I don't know if Tyler Shuck is going to do it this year. Whatever. We'll see. The jury's still out on this New Orleans Saints team. I know a lot of people I trust really like them, so I'm probably the one in the wrong here. Appreciate you guys in the chat for tuning in. Do us a favor, smash the like button. Goes a long way. I see you guys dropping random Colts players. I saw a Dante Moncrief mention. What an absolute throwback that was. If you want to comment down below your favorite Colts player, just the most random Colts player you can pull all time. I want to see that in the comment section down below. All right. We got to head out here, but quickly before we head out, head over to Discord, discord.gg/hammer, talking everything between betting, sweating, sharing bets in our community. Some exclusive stuff is coming in September from our biggest creators. Make sure you check that out, discord.gg/hammer. I got to get out of here quickly because Circle Back is about to start. Shout out to Doug, shout out to Corbie, shout out to Jaleel, shout out to you guys in the chat. Appreciate all you guys in the chat. Sorry I can't mention your name. I love the guys naming dude segments in the chat that's going on right now. It's great stuff. Great stuff. Anyways, appreciate you guys joining the show. This has been the Monday, August 17th edition of the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network. Go check out Circle Back right now on the Circles Off YouTube channel. We'll see you guys right here tomorrow.